It's 8:45. Good morning to you. Time to take you through the headlines today with our headline makers, author Ella Whelan and deputy editor Spite Fraser-Myers. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Let's kick off with COP28, should we, Fraser?
Yes.
Is that still going on?
It is still going on. They're going to draw up a sort of communique together. They're, arguing. They're always arguing about the wording. Do they say, are we going to phase out fossil fuels or phase down fossil fuels? Does it matter? And Andrew Neil in the Daily Mail is suggesting no, it doesn't, because despite this being the biggest COP ever, with 90,000 delegates, twice as big as the one in Glasgow that we hosted, actually the world is still producing more hydrocarbons than ever. It's been a huge jump in the past year or so. America is producing more oil than ever, despite the fact that under President Biden, they're very sort of finger-wagging administration. John Kerry is going around telling us off. He was telling off Rishi Sunak for his sort of watering down of net zero, but they're doing similar. And of course, quite funny, it was hosted in Dubai. Very important petro stake. The head of the COP28 is also the head of the state oil company, the person presiding over it, and he was alleged to have been cutting oil deals on the side while having meetings about reducing climate change. I think the message here is that for all the talk about the need to draw down, reduce greenhouse gases, reduce fossil fuels, actually we kind of need them. People are showing countries are showing in their behaviour that coal and oil and gas are just necessary. They're just a part of... For now, yeah. They're just a part of how we do
So it's all a bit of a cop-out.
You could say that.
But the frustrating thing is that there are things that countries can be doing, like being serious about nuclear energy and nuclear power, which would, go some way to imagining a future in which you wouldn't have the downsides of fossil fuels. But instead of looking at that in a balanced, kind of innovative way, what we have is this sort of pretense that fossil fuels are pointless and evil, and that they serve no possible sort of benefit other than to pollute the nation.
There's no black and white with any of this.
No.
With no grey, it's all black and white.
Well, yeah, but and then you have something like the war in Ukraine come along, and suddenly countries are faced with the very real prospect of how their citizens are going to heat their homes and run their cars and all the rest of it, and a cost of living crisis. And I think there's something positive in the last few years around the net zero debate, in that there has been quite a big pushback. Even Rishi Sunak is still wedded to net zero. He's a lot of blow and nonsense about taking it seriously. I'm quite sceptical of his turn against the green sort of obsession. But there has been a crack and opening in the debate where I think there has been some kind of criticism of net zero and what it means for ordinary people's quality of life.
You've picked out a story about Ryan O'Neill. And when I came in to the office this morning, 99.9% of the people who work here never heard of Ryan O'Neill. To me, it's a massive story.
Oh, he's a Hollywood legend for many people.
Died at the age of 82.
And had suffered for a long time with his health, with leukemia and other things. And there's some, he's blockbusters like Love Story, Paper Moon, who... Yeah. He performed alongside his daughter, Tatum O'Neill.
Was he in Bones?
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, that's where I know him from.
Yeah.
He played Bones' father.
But, one of those classic, remarkably good-looking. In Paper Moon, he is astonishingly good-looking. Still a good-looking...
Calm down.
No, but just one of those Hollywood... Hollywood stars.
That was the whole thing. He was the 70s dream guy. He really was. And, of course, the ultimate movie, the one he was really well known for, was Love Story, which was just what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
It was the most incredible. You've got to go home and watch it.
No.
He was also
We're watching Harry Potter's at the minute.
He was also in Barry Lyndon, if
yes,
people can take the 3-hour runtime, but, one of Stanley Kubrick's classics. So clearly had a great range of things he could do.
Yeah, no, he was massive, massive star. In fact, I think his son said on X, he was the massive star, particularly of the 70s.
Hollywood legend.
He was the ultimate Hollywood legend, full stop. And he really was. So I think it's important to
tell you what, typical Hollywood legend, though, troubled life.
Yes, very. Tatum, his daughter, who starred with him in Paper Moon, as you said, she got an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. She was 10. when she got that Oscar. She's still the youngest ever person to get an Oscar. And she was starring alongside her father, who was nominated for an Oscar for the same movie, but didn't get an Oscar. But she's had a terribly, terribly troubled life since.
And estranged from him alongside her brother Griffin, but then Tatum and him reunited in 2020. And so there was some reconciliation there.
Tell you what, I wouldn't swap my life for theirs for £1 million.
No.
Fraser, let's have a look at the Sun, should we? Kemi Badenoch says Brexit is working.
Yeah, Remainers won't mention it, but Brexit is working. She's talking about, that let's not say the UK economy has been successful. She's putting a bit of spin on this, but it is true that relative to France and Germany, we've recovered slightly better from the COVID pandemic. And crucially, actually, which might surprise people, manufacturing is doing really well in the UK at the moment. It's actually, the value of it is increased enormously. And also some of the big firms like Nissan that we were told, there was this slogan around the referendum that if we leave, they leave. All these factories are going to pack up and leave, and people are going to lose their jobs. And people would make fun of the stupid people of Sunderland. They voted for Brexit. They're going to make themselves unemployed. No, Nissan is doubling down on the UK. They're investing many billions more in their factories, and there's potentially a bright future for.
It was
UK
a scare campaign on all sides, actually.
Well, yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Well, there was just this idea that it was going to be either the magic pill or the sort of death bullet for the British economy and the whole of our lives. When in actual fact, it was just Brexit was the kind of beginning step to looking at how you might do politics in the future. So, but it's welcome news to kind of shut down some of the continuing scare tactics and scaremongering around the economy. But there is this sort of, it's very frustrating that particularly with politicians, there's this desire to either say everything's fine, see Brexit's brilliant, or everything's terrible, it's all Brexit's fault. When of course it's much more complicated than that.
I tell you what, I know people who still have their Brexit boxes.
What, you swear boxes?
No, packed up with food and things, because on the day we left, everything was going to collapse.
Preppers.
It was all that. Yeah, toilet rolls, pot noodles, tins of beans, all in the boxes in the garage. And you just think, come on, but that's what people were like.
On the grounds that a few extra forms have to be filled in at Calais when, the food comes in. I mean, this was always hysterical. I mean, one of the things is that, international trade is actually not that significant as a proportion of, our economy. So it was never going to move the dial in a significant way anyway. As you say, it was a scare campaign. It was a way of trying to keep us in. And Brexit really, we didn't vote for Brexit for the economy so much. It was more about democracy and sovereignty. That's what people were interested in, taking back control, as they say.
Yeah. Just before we go, because we've only got a sort of a minute left, can I just ask you, and particularly Ella with this, because you've got a one-year-old second Christmas this year, but the first one where they'll actually know what's going on. How prepared are you? Because I'm feeling very unprepared.
Do you know that I'm knackered because I stayed up until I put Master and Commander, the film, on the telly, and I stayed up until midnight wrapping, and I've had boxes and boxes of stuff piling up, and so I'm relatively prepared, but I still am going to have to do that dash to some kind of supermarket to find some kind of. I've got family coming around on Sunday, but I like to do everything beforehand. I am quite organised about it, but I've seen pictures of your Christmas tree with your lights and everything. You were way ahead of the game.
The decks are all done. That's all fine, but it's the presents. The present, and then we need to sit down with the menu for Christmas dinner and actually work out what I need to work out with all of that. Yeah.
We were talking about whether Americans do Christmas dinner in the usual way, the same way as us. Morning Ken, said, I've just heard your ridiculous observations about Christmas dinner in the USA. In all my 66 years of life as an American, I have never once seen either my family or any families in my acquaintance order takeout on Christmas Day, because that's what we concluded. From earliest childhood days, driving into the Bronx to the Irish grandparents for Christmas Day, or for that matter, any other holiday, or even just a regular old Sunday, the table was always decked out with a turkey or a roast beef or a leg of lamb or baked ham. Takeout for Christmas, please.
Do apologise.
Yeah.
Though apparently is it Japan or Singapore, they do KFCs. For Christmas Day. That's a big thing.
Wow.
Christmas KFC.
Yeah.
Piers Pottinger, one of the experts we were talking to earlier, said he was just going to the farmer's market to get his leg of goat.
Oh.
Wow.
A goat's leg
That's
on Christmas
yeah.
Day.
My husband's great aunt, who we're going to on the day after Boxing Day, does one of those duck and a duck and a duck, you know, the bird and a bird and a bird, which I've never had. It's the first time I'm going this year.
I did one
That
about...
seems medieval.
It is. I did one about 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought my sons would be terribly impressed with it because they're very into cooking. They thought it was the grossest thing they'd ever seen in their life. Yeah, because you put a small bird inside a bigger bird.
Turducken or something it's called, isn't it?
Oh.
Is that just the preparation that was
chicken.
gross, or the actual outcome?
No, just
Surely the
seeing
outcome was
the idea of
Right.
3 or 4 animals all inside each other, gross, they said. So it went down.
And then
like a
inside
leg
another
balloon.
one when you eat it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, you slice it. You
I
see.
think it's very odd. It's very odd.
It is medieval, as you say. It's a horrible
Yeah.
idea. I don't know why I did
all
that.
meant to be- is it meant
I
to-
did it as a vegetarian. It didn't mean anything to
Are
me.
you meant to finish it off with a swan or something?
I suppose in medieval times,
But I'm
may
going
well
to
have.
say something extremely controversial, which is I don't do turkey. I hate turkey.
Me too.
I do chicken. The thing that's important is the extras.
Yeah.
Never interested in
Absolutely.
turkey.
It's the roast potatoes that make it.
Yeah.
Or if you do like turkey, buy it on Boxing Day because it's usually really cheap.
It's not quite the spirit.
You don't want to
though,
go
is it?
shopping on Boxing Day. I don't understand people who do Boxing Day
Or
shopping.
yeah, in the week after. Yeah.
The week after. Oh, there you go. Look, thank you both very much indeed. It's been very good to see you this
It's been
morning.
lovely and festive.
Thank you.
George, you
for
like
having us.
sitting over here for a change?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thought we'd try it out, give it a whirl.
It's, you know, a
more
good
relaxed.
test as to whether you've worn
The
nice
right
shoes.
shoes.
You don't seem to
I know
have
that feeling, I know. OK, if you're heading